How's it going, everyone? My name's Donovan, and in this video, I'm going to be doing a review of the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. So this book is best for those who want to learn about growth mindset. So those who are interested in psychology or some of the self-help principles that are generally spouted. This is a really good book because it goes into depth on the growth mindset. The difficulty to digest of mindset is pretty easy. It's really slow moving and there are a ton of examples. So I think pretty much everyone will be able to get the main ideas out of a single read through. So the book Mindset is basically about this idea of the growth mindset and how that influences all these different areas of our life. And it's basically the difference between having a fixed and a growth mindset, which means essentially viewing traits as either malleable or not. And that basically means that, can you, through effort and some dedicated attention, change some of the ways that you behave and influence the type of person that you are and a lot of your outcomes. So this belief isn't really to say that, baselines don't exist, but a growth mindset basically says that by putting in effort, you can kind of change outcomes and move away from the baseline in one direction or another, just based on the types of interactions that you have and the actions you choose to take. Having a growth mindset kind of works a little bit in a circle, right? Because when you believe that you have the ability to change your outcomes, then you're more likely to take the sorts of actions that actually achieve the outcomes that you're looking for. So when you have a fixed mindset, you believe that these things are just kind of destined to be this way, which is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's why it's important to be able to parse out the difference between the two. There are a few problems with the fixed mindset, and one of the big problems is basically needing external validation or tying up your self-worth in some of these, behaviors. So basically, if you have a fixed mindset, you believe you are a certain type of person. And that means that whenever you fail or make a mistake or have a problem, that's the type of person you are. So having this sort of belief or mindset kind of sets you up for a very high anxiety set of problems where basically anytime you make a mistake, you believe it's attributable to your character, and that can come through and kind of beat down your self-esteem. With a growth mindset, on the other hand, you can kind of see that it's part of the process, right? That if you make a mistake, you can put in more effort to try and correct that and kind of get yourself closer and closer to the place that you want to be. So Dweck goes over a bunch of different types of example of places that a growth mindset can help you in different places. One of the highlights is kind of relationships, right? So if you have a growth mindset, you kind of believe that you can work on the relationship and build things, and it tends to work out a little bit more favorably. A fixed mindset looks at it a little bit more like, well, either these two people are compatible or they're not, and if they're not, there's nothing you can do about it. So again, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing. If you believe in the growth mindset, you kind of keep working towards it and find some of the potential solutions. But if you have a fixed mindset, you tend not to do that, and then things kind of fall apart. To develop a growth mindset, and most of us have some subset of fixed and growth mindsets in different areas, but to develop it, one of the first things that we really need to do is just keep this concept in mind, right? When we run into certain problems and find ourselves going, oh, I'm never going to be able to change that, it's just the type of person I am, realizing that in the vast majority of situations, the type of effort that we put in and the actions that we choose to do have an influence on outcomes. Another potential way to kind of build this mindset is to take instances where effort actually changed the outcomes, remember them, and then apply that elsewhere. So, for example, if you went to college and you worked really hard and you found that, when you were working hard, you did well, and when you didn't do as well. And applying that to something like trying to get a promotion, right? Just remembering, okay, there was another time that I put in a bunch of effort and it changed the outcome. Maybe in this circumstance, it will kind of work the same way. That can help you maintain and develop that mindset, as well as kind of honing in on when those instances do happen. When you do put in effort and you see that that's producing results, kind of like, mentally highlight that so you can remember it in the future. A couple common mistakes that mindset discusses when it comes to a growth mindset. One is thinking that effort is the only thing that matters. While effort is important, it definitely matters what the results actually are, right? Are your efforts actually producing something? And are you actually getting closer to the outcomes you want? Because what you're looking for is the types of effort that actually influence outcomes. You don't want to just, keep pumping effort into something that's not producing any returns because it's not effective. It's not going to work for you. So that's one key thing, is to just make sure that the things you are putting effort into actually do affect outcomes. Now, sometimes this can be a little bit hard to see, especially, when things are laid out across a wide timeline and it takes, like 5 years to develop this skill. It's a little bit harder to exactly pinpoint some of these things, but having an open mind and kind of just looking and seeing, okay, how does my effort impact results over time, can really help you use the growth mindset effectively. Another common mistake is kind of oscillating in one realm between a fixed and growth mindset. So, like, for example, kind of working on a relationship for a little bit and then giving up and then working on it and then giving up. Because what happens if you are inconsistent like that is that you will eventually start to think that your effort is not tied to the results because, oh, it keeps messing up. I put in effort, we get the relationship to a good place, and then it kind of falls apart. Like, it must just be doomed. When in reality, what happens is, you work on the relationship, you get it to a good place, and you have to maintain that level of work or some level of work to keep things at the right level. And forgetting to do this or not realizing that you need to do this can kind of undermine your sense of a growth mindset. As for other considerations, the only real other thing to think about in this book is how many examples you're willing to look at, because again, it moves a little bit slow. There are tons of examples, really great for hammering home some of the points, but some people might find it a little bit slow and might get a little bit, tired of it. So, if you think it's something that you could pick up pretty easily and get through, then you might want to like breeze through this book a little bit faster. Otherwise, the examples are nice and entertaining and kind of useful, and so it's worth going through. But that's the only other real consideration. As always, I like to try to include a couple reflection questions to think about. So for this video, they are the following. 1. The growth mindset is the belief that effort and strategy impact outcomes. In what realms are you most likely to exhibit a growth mindset? 2. In what realms are you most likely to exhibit a fixed mindset? 3. How can you encourage effort and create a growth mindset in others? That's all I've got for this video, so hopefully that helps, kind of break down a little bit about the growth mindset and this book. If you have any questions, comments, topics you want me to cover, throw them down in the box below and I'll get to them as soon as I can, and I will see you next time.
You can check out more content at howtohappy.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on the videos. We've also got a Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook that you can check out. Reflect, take action, and enjoy life. See you next time.